Hi, and welcome everyone to Employer Insights Behind the Yes, promoting opening doors for volunteering. I also am very excited to share with you some current openings and vacancies from recruiters that we work with here at Devant. So before I continue, just want to double check, can you hear me? Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. And just let me know, can you hear me? That would be great. This is a friendly and safe space, and I would love to make sure that you can also connect with each other. Great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for confirming that. Feel free also to, in the chat box, if you have any areas of goals where you are focusing on, I'd love to hear from you as well in terms of the roles that matter to you and what your career goals are. So, just by way of introduction, my name is Sisha Maharaj. I'm a senior consultant, business development, and external relations with Devant. This is our team, and we're here to support you. This event is brought to you by Devant. We offer free events every Wednesday from 7 to 8 o'clock. All participants are muted, so there's no need to use your video, but please make sure that you use the Q&A function for your questions. I will go through lots of questions at the end and looking for this to be as interactive and useful for you as possible. Also, we have an exciting list of events this fall, so make sure you check out our website slash all events to see what events are available for you later on. And finally, this is going to be recorded, so you will have access to review this once you have registered and attended. So, a little bit about Devant. We help over 150,000 students and alumni to get hired in Canada. We offer free actionable advice from career coaches and industry experts at our live events. We offer latest AI-driven tools to polish your resume, your interview skills, and to provide you up-to-date labor market information. And then finally, we host events with recruiters and partners to help you with your immigration, academic life, and career development. So please make sure to bookmark our page and to check out devant.ca for more information, and make sure you connect with us on social media in LinkedIn and Instagram. We always post of our upcoming events there as well. So this session specifically on Ask a Recruiter, as I mentioned, I am going to highlight at the end some vacancies and opportunities for you. So please stay tuned for that. I also am going to talk to you a little bit about volunteering. Hopefully this will help you to get a step before you get that dream job that you're looking for, but at the same time helping you to provide more professional connections and networks that you do not have access to currently. So, volunteering is more than just giving back. It's a strategic way to grow personally and professionally. And I've actually seen it being used very successful. We've had recruiters in a couple of sessions ago. We had a recruiter and hiring manager talk about volunteering and how they identified top talent through volunteering. It actually wasn't even at the organization. It was through sports that the recruiter and the HR leader got to know members of the community. And this individual landed an interview through his volunteer by talking about what he does, for fun, what he does to build his skills, and that he was teaching himself using AI and using coding, and some of the examples that were shared there were very useful. And she actually got him an interview. This was at a Disney, as a Disney example. But we also have other examples where recruiters are looking on the resume for extracurricular and volunteer experience. So this does work. I know that sometimes it may not be a direct channel, but it's really a good tool for you. And I'm going to help you to leverage your volunteer. And I'm happy to answer questions that you have as well. So volunteering can strengthen your resume to give you highly transferable skills. So for example, if you are volunteering for fundraising, or you're volunteering to manage events, or you look for volunteer opportunities at your school with professors, you are developing transferable skills. For example, you are developing your communication skills, your written and your verbal skills, especially if you're talking to customers or you're presenting information. And in terms of the type of organization that you volunteer for, that can also be to your advantage. So when you look at volunteer opportunities, first you want to get some volunteer experience that will help you get a reference at the end of the volunteer. You want to try and find those volunteer opportunities for, a longer period of time. So if you can do something on a weekly basis, as a volunteer, not too many hours. I mean, less than 5 hours is recommended, because then, I'd rather that you get paid. If you're spending more than 5 hours a week, you should be, looking and negotiating to get paid. But 3 to 5 hours a week is normal for a volunteer to be working, and maybe for a few months, or even less if you're doing it on a more longer basis, is a very good to have on your resume if you've been a long time volunteer for events. So, for example, recruiters take a look at the organization, they take a look at the activities of what you've been doing and your outcomes. They could also be taking a look at who you're interacting with in that organization. Okay. So, for example, if you're organizing an event fundraiser for the hospital, there's actually one coming up in October with the Scarborough Health Network. They're doing a fundraiser to raise money for the hospital. There are different roles that you could be involved in for fundraisers, as an example. I also going to share with you some other real opportunities right now to volunteer. There's a lot of not-for-profits looking for volunteers. There's a combination of in-person and online. Ideally, if you are, volunteering in a team, that's also very good. Recruiters look for that. Are you working alone? Are you working with people? If you're demonstrating that you are working with people, then that is a good way to show teamwork, collaboration, communication skills. You're also developing professional networks for yourself as well. So, in terms of showcasing volunteer roles on your applications and your interviews, one smart thing that I've seen, and I have done a number of interviews myself, beyond the work that I do with Devant, I used to be a recruiter myself. I recruited for financial services, and I also helped individuals get jobs in the financial services in particular. And I've worked at every level and many different functions. So I'm bringing to you not only my own experience, but the feedback I've had with recruiters through our Ask a Recruiter events, through our alumni career launch events, and also taking a look at feedback. We have a tool where recruiters provide feedback on the yeses, the nos, and the maybes after they've done a pre-screen with candidates. So I'm bringing forward this information to share with you today. So, special tips for you to showcase your volunteer role on an application. You can include your volunteer information in your cover letter of, extracurricular and community work above and beyond your work experience. You can showcase your volunteer roles in the resume itself. On the top of the resume, where you've got accomplishments and results, you could showcase some of the outcomes that you have helped that organization or that project achieve in the volunteer. So it's right away they can see it on the resume. I would also recommend maybe at the bottom of the resume under extracurricular to have a section that says extracurricular and volunteer experience. So let's talk more about how volunteering can expand your professional network. Some of the leadership roles that you can secure for yourself would be a decision-making role. Maybe you have finance knowledge or you're able to help with budgeting or expenses. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to join a board of directors. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to join student government. These are all leadership volunteer positions. When you volunteer in a board capacity or a decision-making capacity, sometimes, you volunteer in a more junior role, but over time, they may ask you to do something more senior in the volunteer capacity, which would give you access to decision makers because you would be bringing forth your expertise as an advisor or as a peer advisor, or as I said, as an advisory, board advisory. This would give you access to the other volunteers. So, for example, if we take a look at the hospital example that I gave you, in the Scarborough Health Network, there were a number of different volunteer groups or affinity groups. From that affinity group, individuals that stood out could be nominated or could apply for actual board positions, volunteer board positions within the hospital. So that's a completely different capacity whether you would access more senior individuals. Yesterday, I was at a networking event and I met up with some previous colleagues that I used to work with. One of the professors, she mentioned to me she's on, 5 to 7 different advisory boards. So these are opportunities to interact with decision makers. So this is a practical example of how your volunteering can really expand your professional network. In addition to that, when you volunteer, for example, for events, there are participants at those events. If you volunteer for an awards event, the individuals that are receiving the awards or the individuals that are nominated for the awards, the individuals that are speaking at the awards, these are all networking opportunities for you that you can leverage. And another tip for you in terms of showcasing your volunteer, I talked about application. Now let's talk about interviews. When you're selected for an interview, one of your examples that you offer in the interview could be one of your volunteer experiences. So this is a really smart way for you to showcase your volunteer experience as a strength, as an outcome, as the impact that you have made as a volunteer. So I'm going to go beyond just applications and interviewing. I've also seen individuals post on LinkedIn. They post on social media, whether that be photos or whether that be a summary of the volunteer experience and the impact, and I also have tips there as well. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Are you currently volunteering? Do you have, some examples of community volunteer opportunities? And then also, where do you learn about very good volunteer opportunities as well? There are many different sources of information where people are looking for volunteers, organizations are looking for volunteers. So, for example, one of our sponsors, CIBC, they sponsor some of our events for Devant to be able to bring this to you. They have a CIBC Run for the Cure. It happens every year. It is a community event locally. It's a walk, run event that has raised money for the cause of, coming to a cure for cancer. And there are so many opportunities to get involved with the CIBC Run for the Cure. You could be there on run day, you could participate, you could help promote it. It's such a great community connection event. And, participating in corporate fundraisers or corporate events as a volunteer, it's obvious that you would be networking and meeting individuals from that organization, but also, you could showcase this on LinkedIn, before the event, during the event, and after the event. So these are just a few practical tips on showcasing volunteer roles, not just on applications and interviews, but before, during, and after the experience that you have volunteered for. With Devant, we have an ambassador program, and a lot of our ambassadors, not only have they gotten trained and free access to Devant career tools and knowledge, but they've also secured co-op or full-time roles because the volunteer experience, not only does it give you, I would say, strengthen your resume and your profile in Canada. It also can give you confidence. It can give you a new self-efficacy on the way you present yourself to employers, talking to peers. You also learn from others' experiences. So it's not just decision makers that you will be meeting, but your peers. And learning from each other expands your knowledge base, and it also helps you, to expand the stories that you can tell in an interview or even when you're networking as well. So many of our ambassadors have secured, after being a Devant ambassador themselves, a mentorship role. So we actually offer an entry level volunteer role, then we have a mentorship role, and then we have advisor roles. So within the volunteer structure, depending on how much time you commit or your outcomes, you could expand your level of authority and your level of seniority as a volunteer. So that's another way to demonstrate your professionalism and your skills even as a volunteer. So we really want to make sure you understand that in Canada, volunteering is part of our culture, but it's also embedded in everything that we do in organizations. Almost every single organization has some kind of a volunteer mission or a volunteer cause. If you go onto the websites of some of your favorite employers, take a look and see, take a look at their document. They always have an investor relations document where they put information out to shareholders. You will be able to see what they do in the community. They would have on their website, if they're doing fundraisers or they're doing things in the community and how they're contributing to the community. So this will help you to align yourself. Pick things that interest you. So if you care about the environment, for example, WWF, I think it's the World Wildlife Federation. They do a lot of protection and a lot of things for the environment, although they are, an animal sort of protection agency. The animals are in the environment. So if the environment, is important to you, you want to take a look at those kinds of organizations. Some organizations, they do a lot to protect water. Some organizations, as I said, they look at healthcare. So right now, I want you to take a moment, step back, and to think about what are some of the causes that matter to you. Is it, healthcare? Is it housing? Is it newcomers to Canada? Is it the environment? Is it animals? Pick something that interests you, pick something that's important to you. It could also be a cause. So there could be justice causes that are important to you. Make a list right now of, maybe one or two areas that you would like to look into further. And then take a look at which organizations are playing in that space, because then that is a good organization for you to follow. If you're not sure, I can help you to figure out how do you find organizations that are leaders in this area. There's a number of different awards that recognize corporate citizenship, and they are recognized by their contributions and by their impact in these areas. And that would be a good way, a shortcut for you to find organizations that are doing things or volunteering for causes that matter to you. So ideally, if you can tie it together, meaning your volunteer is giving you a networking opportunity with the organization that you're targeting, that would be a smart opportunity for you to get involved in their volunteer, to sign up on their website, to take a look at the events or any volunteer rollouts or roll calls that they have. They usually have applications on, their website, on LinkedIn. If you follow the events, they will also advertise there. They're very easy to find volunteer opportunities that are local to you. Let's talk about, questions and direct insights from recruiters. I have seen recruiters look for individuals that are making a contribution in the community or that are volunteering their time in some way. They ask about it on the resume. They might say, tell me more about this volunteer experience. Or you could offer that as an interview answer, as I mentioned. So these are just a few ways that you can leverage your volunteer experience to help you. So at this point, I am going to stop sharing for a minute and I'm going to go to the Q&A. Um, I've got an individual that is Yes. Okay. So I understand for sure that there's some different views around volunteering. And yes, I agree that, you need to be selective on which organization that you are volunteering with. And you want to make sure that, they are treating volunteers well. But the reality is, as I mentioned, as a volunteer, you want to make sure that you are creating boundaries around the hours that you work. You also want to make sure that you're creating boundaries on the expectations. Volunteers should not be replacing a full-time employee. Okay, so that's a really great point. One of the questions is like, where do you draw the line and how do you go about it, right? So I'm a very big believer. One of my mentors that I look up to, she always says, start how you intend to finish. So if you're going to volunteer for an organization, you want to be clear up front. What is the role? What are the expectations? What is the length of the volunteer assignment? And you want to get all of this in writing. So at that point, if you have a good clarity up front, what is the volunteer engagement? If tasks or timing goes beyond that, then you can make that decision to say, this is what I'm able to commit to, and I'm only able to commit to these hours. And you can also, give them notice if you're not able to continue with the volunteer engagement. So you are in control of that. And I would encourage you to reach out to us if you're in a situation where you feel the volunteer organization is just not a match for you anymore. That's okay. That's okay. You can leave. You're not tied to, as a volunteer, you're in control of your commitments. Okay. So I just wanted to check in if there are any other questions or any other thoughts that you may have. I'm just going into the chat here to see some of the comments. Welcome, everyone. So great to see some familiar faces here. So I have someone says, I've done 2 volunteer projects and nothing's come of it. So, that is important to take a look and reflect on what were the activities that you were doing in that volunteer assignment. And as I mentioned, it may not convert directly in that organization, but you have gained skills in that volunteer assignment. You've been problem solving, probably working as a team. Depending on your tasks, you want to think about what were the skills and competencies that you developed in that volunteer experience. And also by putting it on your resume, you now have 2 references that you could call on to add, to your reference list. And working with those individuals, one of the things you may want to do is following up with those volunteer organizations, letting them know where you're at in your job search and asking if they have a recommendation for someone you can do an informational interview with. So within the volunteer experience, you can also leverage that experience to expand your network. You can also take a look at which other individuals are following that organization, and you can be following up with individuals proactively as well. I have someone else mentions here, I worked as a volunteer for Rotary International and Habitat for Humanity in India. Thank you. Both, very, 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 very important organizations. Rotary International exists here as well, locally. That's another great opportunity. So if you have an international experience, you may want to take a look at the local Rotary clubs in your community. That would be a really great continuation of your Rotary experience to see if you're interested and you want to continue in that way. I would also say the Rotary Club in particular is very, very good at networking. A lot of the people who volunteer at the Rotary clubs are very supportive of networking. You could probably just search on LinkedIn for Rotary on people's profiles and ask them for informational interviews, find out what's happening in the local community and expand your professional network. Because really what you're doing is you're building trust. You're building credibility and you're building skills. These are relationships, not just to get your immediate job today, but it's the relationships for the future. So I'll give you an example. Personally, I am an avid volunteer myself, and I've been volunteering for many years. And when you volunteer and you end up seeing the same community like multiple times, like 3 years, 4 years out, then you build trust, you build credibility. And now, because of the volunteer, that I've been able to do, I'm getting people willing to meet with our community for jobs. I'm getting people who are willing to do informational interviews. I spoke with someone this week who actually I worked with in a previous capacity, and he says, Sisha, I'm willing to come and talk to your community about the roles I do. He manages 10 people. He works in the government, and he used to work for a major bank, so tons of experience. He's going to be one of our volunteers for the alumni launch that we're going to be doing in November. So when you volunteer and you're, looking to build these professional relationships, you do want to keep in touch with people. I think that's another part or step that a lot of individuals maybe may forget. It's keeping in touch with your network, because not only are they good to help you get a job, they can also help you get intelligence, help you get behind the scenes of the organization, help you understand the industry. So they're also a very good source of information to help you find hidden jobs, maybe jobs that are not posted, jobs that are coming up. So I'm going to also share this with you guys, because I actually through my volunteer work as well, I've got a number of jobs that I've been asked to fill, or to give recommendations or to access talent, which I'm going to share in a few minutes after I go through the chat. So I've found, again, volunteering as one instance. It's not enough. You're right. You need to keep in touch with people. You need to understand what you can do to give back to that individual, or how you can stay informed about what's happening in the industry or in the community. The volunteer work that I did, for example, I've been able to meet very senior decision makers. I've been able to learn about the industry. Today I ended up meeting the deputy mayor and the mayor of a city through some of my volunteer work that I wasn't even expecting. The individual that I'm volunteering with, she introduced me today to 12 different decision makers. And now it's my turn to follow up with those individuals and take it further. So you're fostering a relationship, you're fostering these connections, for seeds, for yourself for the future. It may not convert immediately, but you need to follow up. You need to stay in touch, and you need to understand what is the reciprocal value with this individual or this organization. Okay. But I highly recommend, I think Rotary International is very powerful, as a non-for-profit and also for volunteer opportunities. Habitat for Humanity, I'm not sure if everyone's aware of Habitat for Humanity, but please keep these organizations coming. I think these are great examples. Habitat for Humanity is also exists here in Canada, locally as well. And they are helping now with, housing. And there's different spin-offs of Habitat for Humanity, in real estate. And real estate is a great lead for jobs right now. Development, construction, project managers, engineering. I spoke with someone recently through networking. He landed a job. He came here from the Caribbean, and he came with me to a couple of events to volunteer, with Devant. And through those events, built up his stories, built up his confidence, and he ended up landing a job, in construction, as a quality inspector through some of his volunteer work, because it gave him stories and examples that he could share. So I do also recommend Habitat for Humanity here. There's quite a few good opportunities there. I see someone else is sharing, volunteered for my community in Two First Nations, in Moberly Lake in BC. Great. And, especially working with our Indigenous community. If you're new to the community or new to Canada, getting involved in our First Nations community is very important. It is part of our DNA here. They are, the first settlers, or owners, I would say, of our land in Canada, and we are on a path to truth and reconciliation with our Indigenous community in Canada. And it's really important to understand the viewpoints, the values, and the areas in where we can contribute and work together to rectify some of the issues that have been experienced by the Indigenous community. Some of them I will not go into right now, but I do recommend you read the report on Truth and Reconciliation, and see if there are areas or opportunities to volunteer to support our First Nations communities. There are friendship centers that are located in major centers around the city. If you're not in the northern parts of the province or city, there are so many needs, and so many opportunities to contribute and help the Indigenous community. They have gone through a lot here in Canada, and they're, really trying to make sure that we acknowledge and that we understand what has happened in different communities. So I think that this is a really, really another great volunteering opportunity for you to consider. I'm just going to go down the list. Thank you so much for sharing about our Indigenous community. Yes, thank you. Would love to volunteer as much as you can now that you're here in college. Fantastic. So in your college, there might be, an Indigenous First Nation student club. There might be community work. There might be environmental work. There's always an elder, usually in every university and college, that you can talk to find out what are the needs in the Indigenous community as well. Um, Correct. Okay, I see another comment here. Cinema College alumni and a global recruiter. Oh, that's so great to hear from you. Yes, I will definitely reach out to you. So, in terms of recruitment, and the fact that you're an alumni, I've done a lot of speaking actually as well on networking at Centennial College. So it's so great to hear that you have found benefit from some of the Devant events, and it's been beneficial for you, Patricia. So absolutely, I will stay in touch and let's talk more about how we can make an impact and what are some of your goals as well. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Yes, please do connect with each other. Fantastic. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Great. So Patricia's sharing, being a volunteer at the Toronto City Hall was an amazing program to learn more about the culture and meet people. Thank you so much for that. As I mentioned, I very fortunate to be able to connect with city members in some of the work that we're doing here. We're actually working with the City of London. I'm going to talk some more about the City of London in a few minutes, but we are working with the City of London for a virtual speed interview day. We have a number of employers that are being brought to the table that will be interviewing either for open roles or for current open roles right now or for future roles. And you will have an opportunity to participate in this virtual speed interview day on November the 5th for those of you who are living, working, or studying in the City of London. We've also worked with the City of Ottawa. We have a partnership with the Sarnia Lambton area. They have offered to pay for career coaching, 1 hour of career coaching, and to help people connect, again, who are living, working, or willing to live and work and study in the Sarnia Lambton area. So we are doing work city by city, and within each of the cities, there are different teams or different departments that are doing different programming or different events. So, for example, I'm here in Durham, and I live in the very big region of Durham, and they have a number of different events, and they post looking for volunteers regularly to help with community events, to help with different programming that they're doing. So definitely take a look at your city website. I would also encourage you to take a look for leadership positions. So if there's an advisory role, like a youth advisor, if there's a senior community advisory role, anything where you could be in a decision making position or where they're seeking your advice, they're seeking your opinion. Remember that your point of view matters, and organizations and volunteer opportunities do exist that help you leverage your expertise. I see someone here says that they've got 23 years experience. So, your experience is important and your viewpoint is important. So when you're looking at volunteer positions or volunteer opportunities, see if there's like advisory positions or leadership roles. See, if you're part of a certain community, like for example, LGBTQ plus, women, a person with a disability, if you've got a certain lived experience that is unique. These organizations and volunteer opportunities need your voice. So make sure that you look for that and you leverage your lived experiences as a volunteer. Welcome. Thank you so much. I'm just reading the comments here. So I've got here. Perfect. So I've got someone saying that they volunteer to participate in hackathons and build projects that you're passionate about. So great to hear from you. Yes, please, include your LinkedIn in the chat so individuals can reach out to you for sure. So at this point, I just want to share some open jobs. It's at 7:35 right now. So I have been in touch with a recruiter that is looking to hire. She wanted to attend today, but she could not because she had her launch event today. So give me a second. I'm just going to share with you live some information. So this is an organization called CCSYR. They are a non-for-profit looking to hire individuals. She's building up her team. She's looking to hire individuals, particularly to assist her as a peer support specialist. The application deadline is September 19th. If you are interested, I can send you the job posting. So please feel free to reach out to me via email or info@Devant, and I will send this to you. Actually, I'm going to send this to everyone as a follow-up who's here today, who's attended, so that you can have a look at the job posting. And if you're interested, please do apply. The peer support specialist role is part of the business incubator program. This is a brand new program to assist women who need a financial comeback or women who need a second chance and have faced different barriers in their life. So the peer support specialist will focus to ensure newcomer women, underserved, visible minority women are provided empathetic, non-judgmental support and connection to survivors currently navigating healing, advocacy, or recovery. This role is grounded in the belief that shared experiences can be a powerful tool for healing. So, as a trusted peer advocate, the peer support specialist helps reduce isolation, build community, and foster resilience among newcomer women and underserved visible minority women. The ideal candidate will be deeply committed to women empowerment, trauma-informed care, and equity. So this is a paid position. It is not a volunteer position. CCSYR, you can look them up. They also have volunteer roles, but now I'm moving to the segment where I'm going to be talking about paid job opportunities that recruiters have shared with us or shared with me so that you have some real live leads. Another position that they're hiring for, it's called a community navigator role. And this community navigator will play a vital role in supporting newcomer women and underserved visible minorities by connecting them with critical service and advocating for their needs and building strong community partnerships. So I will send these job postings to you all so that you have an idea and you can take a look at all the details and the responsibilities. The qualifications for these roles are a bachelor degree. They're looking for in a relevant field and experience will be considered. Ideally, looking for somebody from the community. So, someone who's had a lived experience in this area. So this is sort of one lead or one organization where the timing just didn't work out for her to attend today, but she wanted me, I spoke to her today, and she wanted me to share these roles with you. And again, as I mentioned, if you've got follow-up questions, you have my email. I'll put it in the chat and you can ask me questions about this role if you are interested. Another opportunity that I wanted to share, this organization is called Kajir Senior Living, and they have a lot of opportunities right now. They are located across Canada. So BC, Alberta, Ontario are some of the areas or provinces. She also mentioned to me Manitoba. So they have a number of roles. I'm just going through her list here in almost every single functional area. So it's an organization that manages senior programs or senior long-term care facilities. They're looking for individuals, within the food section, within head office, within real estate. They have hospitality opportunities. The list is pretty large. They've got volunteer, not really. They're looking for part-time and full-time positions. So for those of you who are looking for paid employment, this is a great organization. I'll put the information in the chat so that you can take a look. It's COGIR Real Estate. So you can please take a look at that. In addition to that, I wanted to highlight for the City of London, one of the organizations that will be coming as a teaser is Canada Life. It's an insurance company. So you will get some information about that for those of you who are in the London area. Also, I'm seeing a lot of need for individuals who are like PSWs, nurses, nursing assistants, those type of roles as well. So I'm just curious, for those of you who are here right now, can you please put in the chat, like what kinds of roles are you looking for? And, based on what I just shared, do you have any follow-up questions for me? Just going to give you a couple minutes. Yes, they are paid roles. Remote sales and marketing. Okay. And also, do you have any questions, that if you want to ask a recruiter? So, do you have questions related to the resume? Do you have questions related to interviews? What are some of your questions? Please put them in the Q&A and I will go through them for you. Okay, I see quality assurance, supply chain, okay, data and analytics, software engineer. Okay, so if you're a software engineer, I have another company, which is a startup company. They are looking to hire somebody who's a software engineer. So Sonia, please send me your resume and I will send your resume to the organization for you. Okay. They are a startup. Can you also maybe when you send me the resume, let me know what is the location? This organization is in Peterborough, Kawartha Lakes area. But I'm not sure, the location if it might be virtual or not. So maybe you could just send me your resume. That would be great. And please make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn and I can do a LinkedIn introduction for you. Accounting. Yes, there's so many roles in accounting. Accounting is another really great role where you can volunteer for so many organizations to help them with their budgets, to help them with their um, financial projections, maybe helping them with invoicing and payables. So lots of opportunities for you to build some experience on your resume there while you're looking. Okay. Okay, someone said I'm looking for volunteer and apprenticeship with SWE/IT. I'm not sure what SWE means, but feel free to reach out to me. In terms of IT, again, another good opportunity to help with some volunteer opportunities. But I do have organizations that are in the IT section. I know City of London, she's definitely looking for talent. She mentioned to me to support the technology companies. So I do expect more companies at Get Hired at Home London area on November the 5th. Okay, quality assurance, supply chain, software engineer, we talked about IT, need to get kind of the hiring manager, production. Oh, hearing instrument dispenser. Interesting. I do have a connection there. That might be able to help you network. I don't know anyone directly, but I do have connections, with the disability community, specifically those who are deafened or hard of hearing. So I'm happy to make an introduction for you to get connected with someone for an informational interview. Cybersecurity, there's so much need in cybersecurity. One of our previous recruiters that have attended this event, Paul, he does interviews and has openings for many of the banks that are hiring for cybersecurity. Okay, clerical roles. Yes, I have another organization. They are a healthcare union and they are hiring for tons of administration roles, tons and tons. So I'm just working with them right now to figure out when their availability will be. They will be joining us at an Ask a Recruiter event probably in October. They're just trying to figure out their schedules. We're also having an event on November the 12th. It's going to be our alumni launch event, and there's going to be a number of individuals who will be volunteering to network with recent grads and alumni. So mark your calendars and look out for that event. We are very excited to bring this to you for professional networking, and you will get a chance to meet with HR leaders, with industry people to grow and build your network. Okay, more supply chain and operation management, procurement and supply chain. Software engineering, great. Oh, law clerk. Okay, excellent. Logistics. So for the individual that's asking about law clerk, one of our partners, Elizabeth, she does all of our immigration events. She was hiring as well. I don't know where she's at right now, but legal assistant is a definite need in the city. I'm not sure what city you guys are located in. So it also depends on your location and where you're looking to work. So this is great. This gives me a good idea of the kinds of functional roles that you're looking at. So one of the things that I'll be doing is following up with our recruiters for future Ask a Recruiter events. We needed to get some feedback as well on the direction of, our community and what you're looking for. So we do have profiles. I am working on the profiles that have been filled out, but this is good information to know, those of you who are attending here, what you're looking to do and what you're looking for as an employer. I see banking and insurance. As I mentioned, we've had 3 insurance companies participate in our speed interview events. So there's going to be more to come. As I mentioned, Canada Life is coming for City of London. We've had Sun Life. We've had Manulife. We've had some really excellent insurance companies, and they are all hiring. Asset management and office administration, yes. So asset management, that company that I mentioned, Kojir, they would be a good company for you to take a look at. I've also had Quadreal in the past. They are another great real estate property management company. And you could take a look at some of the family offices as well to see if they might be hiring. That will obviously be dependent on your background and your qualifications, but we have brought some of those, and I'll see if I can bring those for the November 12th networking event, and I'll talk to our partners at City of London as well. So let me move over. I'm going to make sure I save the chat. Oh, so great. Thank you. I've got someone here that says, I'm a Mercur's referral partner. We hire for all areas for remote and asynchronous projects to work with AI companies. So take a look there. So feel free to reach out and connect directly. Wonderful. So in terms of the list, the recording will be available to you after this event, so you'll have access to the recording. In terms of the organizations, once we have them confirmed for our networking event on November the 12th for the alumni launch, as well as November 5th, we are going to be sending out updates on our newsletters so that you guys will be able to see which organizations are coming. Okay. Calgary. Okay, great. Yes. So Kujir has representation there. So that is a really good match. So please make sure you look out for our upcoming Ask a Recruiter events. Once I know their schedules, we will be advertising which recruiters will be attending which events. For the November 12th event, we will be releasing that list shortly. So again, thank you guys so much. I'm going to just go through the Q&A. I see some more Q&A has been added here. So give me a second. Okay, so third year student, business administration, are there any corporate companies which hire college students and do not have the prerequisite of completion of degree? So if the organization hires for co-op, then that's an opportunity if your program has a co-op. Sometimes, they may offer internships, but you need to make sure that you are eligible to work depending on your program. So I do recommend that you reach out, to your campus. They have free immigration services. We also have a relationship, as I mentioned, with Elizabeth, and you get a discount to talk to her if you're not sure. So as long as you're eligible to work full time, on a registered break. Again, I'm not going to give out immigration advice. You need to talk to an immigration lawyer, but there are organizations that do hire part-time, and you are eligible to work part-time if you are an international or newcomer student that is here on a temporary visa. You're allowed to work part-time while you're in school. And then if you're on a registered break, again, based on your program, that could be also a potential. But yes, organizations do offer part-time. Okay. Um, for sure. So basically, I will put my information into the chat once we're finished. And then you feel free to connect with me with your resume for any of the opportunities. And please just let me know if there are a specific organization or opportunity that you're most interested in. Um, oh, I've got someone just making a comment. It's good to post achievements on LinkedIn, which I received my job from a fulfillment associate, such as a formal achievement certificates. It shows as less interest in the field I studied or applying for jobs. Um, Oh, it's a question. Okay. So, yes, I think that if you post your achievements on LinkedIn, certificates and achievements, it is showing your impact. And I think that it's a great opportunity to show that you're learning how to learn, that you've completed a program. Obviously, if it's related to the job, it's better for you. Okay. I also want to mention that you can also get follow-up conversations with our career coaches. So feel free to go onto our website and register to talk to a career coach. We will be launching our services for alumni and those who have graduated on November the 12th. So you will get some more information about that soon. Okay, so a question about if you can take advantage of some of these opportunities if you are not in the country yet. Again, it depends on the organization. Some organizations do have remote work, and if you have the skills that they're looking for, it's really up to the organization. But mostly they're looking for those who are in Canada already. The alumni launch is going to be virtual, so it's open to everyone across Canada. Okay, so someone's looking for supply chain co-op and they're eligible for co-op program in January 2026 to April 2026. That's great. So I would say, you need to be really networking right now to connect to get these co-op and working with your school. But also, we are going to be offering some support there. I don't know if you were attending the last event that I had hosted with our recruiter from Well Simple. She is actively hiring. Her jobs should be on the website. So take a look at Well Simple. She is hiring now for January to April 2026 jobs, and she only hires for co-op. So that's one example that I could offer right now. But you definitely need to be hitting the networking and actively applying, talking to your school because to start in January, they would have, I think, advertised in the summer. So you want to make sure that you're really focusing on this right now. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I've got someone's LinkedIn here. I'm just going to save that. Thank you so much. Okay, someone's asking, have I covered tech roles like web developer and how do we apply? So, we've had Tech Connects attend in the past, so we have covered tech roles and networking opportunities. I haven't myself heard of any new volunteer opportunities directly, but I would encourage you to take a look at websites like, volunteer.ca. As I mentioned, take a look at some of the organizations and causes that matter to you to see and search for IT volunteer roles. But the tech roles also hired by agencies as well. So I have brought in recruiters in the past that are hiring for mostly full time. I would say there are not a lot of part time roles that I've seen so far, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Okay. Wonderful. So again, thank you guys so much. In terms of the recruiting team for Devant, so for our ambassador program, we will advertise when that is open. You will not miss that because it'll be on our LinkedIn, it'll be on our social media. We also advertise in person at the schools, and then we also send out notes directly through our newsletters as well. So hopefully that helps. Want to take a moment to thank all of you so much for attending today's Ask a Recruiter event. Hopefully, you found some tips that will be useful for you. I would love, love, love if you can share some feedback for the next Ask a Recruiter event. The recruiter from Kojir will be here. Her name is Luda. And we are building up a few more representatives as well to attend that Ask a Recruiter event so that this way you can talk to her directly about or talk to them directly about roles that you see advertised. I do want to recommend you review the career sites of the speakers so that you are prepared with your questions. And a lot of them, welcome you to follow up with them on LinkedIn. So step one is attend the event, attend the Ask a Recruiter event, bring a friend. And then step two would be, researching the companies. And then step three would be following up with them as long as they've given you an invitation to do that on LinkedIn, or learning about opportunities where you can connect with them on a volunteer capacity of their organization. I know that, for example, Thanksgiving is coming up. I'm seeing a lot of volunteer opportunities for food banks, for food security. There's so many opportunities for you to get involved and meet people. I really want to encourage you to get out behind the desk, get behind the computer, and allocate, 3 to 5 hours a week for some kind of volunteer experience. It really will not only build your skills, build your professional network, but you'll also feel great. And it will help you to have some confidence when you do get selected from an interview. I just want to wish you guys all the best. I will see you again. Thank you so much for your feedback. And I'm going to stay online to share and save the chat, and see you guys again. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.